Hello, and welcome to episode 96 of Nintendo Therapy, a show about the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all the things Nintendo. My name is Kevin, and joining me in therapy this week is Harrison.
Welcome back, Kevin. Um, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I got some good news for the pod as I finally heard back from Sean. I don't know how that's going to affect this video version here, but he did say that next week he will probably be back. He and I are gonna basically test his connection this weekend. He's always got internet problems. I don't know why. It's not like he lives in the middle of nowhere, but he we're gonna test his connection, and if it's working, he's coming back next week.
Oh, okay. To be determined. Okay.
uh, so yeah, let's do some therapy. How was your week of Nintendo this week?
It's been busy. I guess I bought games for my birthday, but then I've been
Yep.
I've been playing that stupid Pokemon game, and it's just like it's just typical. Like I do this all the time, where it's like I call it real games. Like I have real games to play,
Hmm.
but I'm not playing a real game. I'm playing this game on my phone that I got for free and got 2 weeks premium for free. Instead, so it is what it is. But I am done with it. So it's been busy. Been a busy week. How about you?
Well, yeah, I've also been playing the trading card game. I've been doing a lot of autopilot on there because I still have to do the thing where the current event in solo play is one of the goals is to have 20 wins on expert mode. Um, so I've just been hitting auto because I've got a good enough deck to do that now and waiting. I'm at like, I think 15 wins on there. I'm like five away. So that should be done soon, and then I'll start focusing on the PvP more. I think I have like 18 wins there on my way to four. If I did the math and I'm like, okay, if I do two PvP wins a day this month, I'll have finished it by the deadline on the 28th. So I just need to win two games a day, and I'll be fine.
I think
Um,
as it goes on, the games are going to get shorter because like
yeah,
this
they're giving people time to build a deck,
well, when you
multiple
get
decks,
closer to
really.
the end of the event, more and more people are going to start conceding because it's just like I just want to get it. I just want to get this event done. And
Yeah.
and there's nothing like if you have 45 wins and 1,000 losses, it's still the same as having 45 wins and zero losses.
Hmm.
So so it's
Which I
all
like.
I've been seeing a lot of that Simpson meme, the Simpsons meme of like
Mhm.
Homer Simpson where he has all the fat tied in back of him, where it's like 45
Yeah,
wins
yeah,
in
yeah.
front, but 1,000 losses are tied up in back. So
Yeah, because it is good that it does that though, because there are so many times where I just enter this zone where I can't catch a break and I'm being put up against people. I'm at level 17, I think, and I'm getting put up against like level like 24 players who have better cards. And like I texted you, they literally I lost a match in like five turns the other day. It's like it was not even close. So like, yeah, I could totally see people just concede, get me to someone I have a chance with. Like,
right, or you can just go off like just pulls, like um
hmm
I'll be honest, like playing on expert, um the single player expert mode, there's a couple of times where it's like I got a bad pull and I'm just like, okay, like
yeah, and you're
because
just
because you
waiting
can
for
just
that one card that you know is in your deck and it doesn't show up. You're like, come on, I need that Misty or something. Like,
right, and like I kind of changed a little bit with PvP about like I think like for me, if I know I can't win, I might as well concede and just be like, here's your win, no, here's your win, let's move on, right? um
mhm.
So, you know, Nintendo has been very good, and they're obviously being very explicit with how friendly they want to make this game initially. Um, just because of everything, like sending the thank yous out after, which I think it's just a good like a test of like how good of a person you are. um,
Yeah.
because you should be hitting that button every time. It's like it doesn't cost you anything, and you should just you
Mhm.
know I've forgotten a couple of times. My
Yeah, I've
thing,
been friend requesting a lot of players too, if it's a
yeah,
good enough game where if they don't take the only time I didn't send the thank you and friend request is the few games I've had where the player is literally taking the full minute 30 seconds for their turn every single time. And I'm just like, "Come on." Those are the only players I don't give any love to.
yeah, we're definitely at the mercy of like the fact that it's on a phone, you know.
Mhm.
Because sometimes I'm like, this guy's gonna lose. He's just waiting to see if I will quit or if my phone will
Yeah.
die
Y
before this game is
Yep.
over. Just quit, bro. But then like there's sometimes where I'm like it's a phone, like they're on their phone and like something legit could have like actually happened. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you're
that's why
kind
I'm that's why I
of at the
specifically
mercy of
mean,
that.
like, the ones who do it every single turn, and I'm like, "Are you driving right now? Like, what is going on?"
Yeah,
Like, I'm sure
yeah,
and I'm sure I've battled some people who were driving while I while I, bought them in cards.
yeah. Well, I was, having the 30 million, 20 million plus players, I mean, the matchmaking has been like, because I'm on the other side of the world. Of course, I'm like a couple hours from Japan, but like, it's like 2 seconds to like find
Mm,
somebody to play with. Um, so again, like if you're not happy with the match, concede. The loss will that you'll no one will ever know about the loss, and just kind of just move on because you can find another one quickly. I am torn. This is like the main part I wanted to talk about with this segment is that I did get the 2 weeks free, and my thing is that I've played enough to where it would justify $10. So I think I'm gonna keep it. Um, because it's like I think if I play like 5 hours in a month, that would justify $10. If I play 10 hours in a month, that would really justify $10. Like $1 1 hour, no problem. At the same time, the premium hasn't really like I think if I did free to play, I would have had almost the same cards and the same experience. It really hasn't offered
yeah.
me that much. So I'm kind of torn to be
Yeah, that
like,
1 extra pack a day isn't much.
yeah, and like I've kept track of that of like when I get that free pack, it's RNG, but I haven't got anything. Like I know, and it's just kind
Yeah.
of it is what it is. But I'm kind of torn if I should be like, well, I'm using your application a lot, so here's $10. Or if I should be like, you're not really offering me anything premium, so I'm not
I
going to
think they're
use it.
waiting to reveal a lot of the premium features. They want people hooked first. So I think more like especially when we get into the multiple packs, they might charge people to open older themes or what do they call like, like the different types of pack, which we're
Right.
still on the original. So they might charge people to open older packs or stuff like that. There's going to be charging there'll be more reasons to charge people eventually, I'm sure.
Right. Well, with more cards, it does make sense to like if you offered too many packs in the beginning, a lot of people would have a full deck. I have um 170 out of the 220 or so of the main part.
I don't know.
I can,
Let
I,
me
I can
see.
look it up now. I think I have about I have like 191 overall, I think. So um it does make
Where do I
sense
see
that
that?
that they're going to
Oh,
be a
there you
little
go.
bit stingy on packs right now because there are people who have full um full sets, pay to win.
Yeah.
They probably paid for it.
There's 226 cards available right now. I have 190.
Oh, I have
So,
179. It's about the
okay.
same.
So pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the same.
Um, yeah, it just, depends on the pulls. I've definitely gotten like 3, 4, 5 packs in a row where like I don't even get a new card. And I'm like, come on. But I guess now that I see that, I didn't even check that number. Now that I see that there's not many new cards left, that makes sense. And the bulk of them are going to be the rare one that only pay out like less than 1% of the time.
Right. Yeah, I'm to the point where because overall I need like 50 cards. So it's like
Mhm.
if I get
I'm
one,
saving up points to get one of those, like the ones where you pay 500 points to get a card. I've been
right,
doing that.
right. Yeah, I'm to the point where if I get like one new card in like a pull, or just like one new card like every once in a while, it's like cool because I know I'm running out of packs. So I think it does eventually even out where there's going to be more cards in rotation, and it's just going to make the overall game better because like when I'm playing PvP and I see Ralts go up there, I'm just like get this guy out of here because like Ralts eventually evolves into oh, whoever. Help me out, Pokemon people in the comments.
I am learning because, as you know, I'm going through the series for the first time, and I am learning about different Pokemon I'd never seen before through the cards. I've got like a new favorite one. I forget its name, but like the fighting octopus Pokemon. I love that guy.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah. I know
know?
what you're talking about. Yeah, but yeah, just seeing the same builds over and over again, like the double Mewtwo build with Ralts evolves into something that does like it gives you a free energy every time. So it's just too overpowered because Mewtwo
Hmm.
can use the top ability over and over again because it uses two energies every time. So
Mm.
I'm just I I finished 2 days ago with the 45 wins. I was getting a little bit tired with the monotony because it was always either like Articuno builds, Mewtwo builds, Jolteon builds, or Pikachu builds. Like, and I just kept seeing it over and over again. So I'm done with that part. The Lapras event ends this weekend, so I'm hoping that we get a new single player event. I'm just really happy with it. Last thing I'll say is that uh, I've talked a lot about how Nintendo has been taking risks lately and how the risks aren't always perfect initially. But I always will give a benefit of a doubt if you're trying to do something that is either innovative or different. I'm happy that Nintendo listened and took ideas from like Marvel Snap or other trading card games. So I just, I think I was a little bit too critical in the beginning, but I just want to come on here and say that I want to give them credit anytime that they did something correct. So I'm very happy with it.
Hmm. Well, that's funny because another thing I wanted to talk about this week is something that's kind of having to do with I'm not sure if they did something correct or not. That's like a question I want to ask because moving on to a different topic, I another thing I was playing and finally finished this week was Metroid Prime Remaster, and I finally finished it, like I said. And one thing I like to do in games like that is I like to play the full game, no walkthrough, to prove to myself that I can make it through the game. And then usually when I get to the end boss, I like to go back and collect everything so I can have my cake and eat it too, I guess. So I can say I made it to the end with no walkthrough, but also 100% the game without having to do a whole full playthrough again, right? And that brings me to my point about like Metroid Prime. has multiple missable items that you need to do another playthrough because you missed this and there's no way to get it now. Um, Not items so much as scans. I did get 100% of the items, but I only wound up with 90. So I did 100% items and 92% scans. And I'm like, ugh. And the scans that I missed, I'm so frustrated with because it's just like a different it's scans of enemies that are just a different color of an enemy I scanned, and it only appears once for an event. So I'm like, I didn't know I was supposed to scan that one. I thought I already had him. So anyway, my question is, how do you feel about missable items in games? Like, is that something we should have less of, more of? Is it a good way to encourage a replay, or is it just kind of punishing somebody?
I like to have the option. So ideally, uh, yeah, ideally it's having that option. And if I want to go back to Stardew, like in Stardew, you have that option of completing in year one, and they give you a
Mm,
check a check to have that option in the beginning. So ideally, yes. Do I like missable items? No, no, not at all.
mm,
And uh, I don't know. I mean, it's probably been since the beginning of gaming that it's been going on. And in Pokemon, it was used as a way to get people to buy the other games or to
yeah.
collaborate and make it more of a social thing. Because like there was
Well,
certain
that's
Pokemon
different
that
than a that's more of an item you're locked out of once you make a
yeah.
choice. It's
Mhm.
not like you could have gotten both fossils. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different there, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but I could still restart the game, go back, get the fossil, and that would be
Mhm.
completion on my own.
Well, I'm
But
sure a lot of people
it's
did
different.
what
It's
my
different.
friends and I did back in the day is to get all three starters, we had one friend just replay the beginning of the game 5 or 6 times so that we could each have all three starters. So that that was a way to counteract that missable item thing.
Right. Right. And so it is different um in that sense. So yeah, I don't like it. Um giving players um, that agency is good because it's a single player game. Single player
Mhm.
games should have as much agency as possible, in my opinion, because who cares? Who cares,
Final
right?
Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy 9 is another game I play like this where it's got a ton of items where that area, like there's events in the game where you can't go back to that town anymore. And there's a one of a kind item in that town. So if you don't get it when you're there, you miss out on it. And it's just so it requires you to use a walkthrough because you're like, if I miss a single step here, I can't have my flawless run. And it's just annoying. You should be able to go back and collect things, I think, always. It's just it's punishment. That's what it is. It's punishing me for not using a guide or
Yeah,
memorizing your game.
I'm I'm with you on that. It's probably more punishing to you, but
Yeah.
I'm completely with you on that. Um, so Metroid is a game collection, isn't
Is
that?
it?
Isn't it, wait, Metroid one and
Yeah,
two?
have they done a collection?
Isn't one and two like a collection together?
No, not
No.
yet.
Oh
But that
wait, no.
I see what you're trying to do is segue into the other thing I made notes
I'm trying to
about.
segue. I'm trying to segue, but apparently I'm too much of a Nintendo fan and not a Nintendo expert. Um,
Yeah, they
but
haven't done a Metroid collection yet. They're all still individual out there by themselves games. But that was the other thing I wanted to talk about this week is just a thought that occurred to me is just how much of a collection machine the Switch is. Like, I was thinking about just on my Switch alone. I have Mario All Stars, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, Metal Gear Solid Volume 1, Spyro trilogy, Crash trilogy, Grandia collection, the Sega Genesis collection, Mega Man Classics collection 1 and 2, Street Fighter collection, and the Cowabunga collection. And that's not even like all the great ones. Like there's the Castlevania ones out there we've brought up on the show. There's Tomb Raider one I want to get at some point. What else? I never know how to say this game's name, but I always call it Suikoden. Suikoden. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
A game I've always wanted to play. It's got a collection coming out in March. So, um, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to bring it up because I'm thinking about how awesome that is for gamers now, and the fact that the Switch is a portable system. It's just great. I don't know. I thought of it this week, and I'm like, wow, there's really a lot of collections on this thing. Are there any that I didn't mention here that you think are worth just being appreciative of?
No, I went through my collections as well. I had Mario 3D All Stars. I don't know why. I was told it was going to be worth something one day. I have GTA trilogy. I'm not really sure if I'm going to buy any other ones that are currently out. But yes, there's a lot. You know, over a year ago we did, best bang for your buck um games, and there's so many because you can get a lot of these on sale, and then you just have a lot of games.
Yeah, like that Tomb Raider collection's only $30. That's $10 a game. That you can't. That's amazing. And they're not just bare bones either. They're remastered. And they've got that mode where you can switch back and forth between the original visuals and the remastered visuals. So I couldn't believe it when I saw that. Or it might be close to, it might be 39.99, but I think it's only 29.99. I don't know. Either way, it's a very well priced collection.
Right. Right, just saving money and getting lots of games. I'm not really sure if there's any currently out that I want. I'm sure that there will be more in the future. Um, Perhaps we get a different kind of Pikmin collection or something like that. Even though like one and two are
Pokemon
together.
Classic Collection. Do it. Do it,
Yeah.
Nintendo. Put
And
red, blue, gold,
and
silver. What am I missing? Yellow. That's what I'm missing. Put all that on there.
uh, it's kind of a fun coincidence that the GTA trilogy was just updated like today or yesterday, I guess it would be. Um,
Hmm.
it just received the update yesterday
I think
after
that's what made me think of this, actually, is seeing that news story. Is I was like, wow,
being
there's a lot of collections.
being out for over 3 years now. Just insane. It's just insane that like it's been out for over 3 years, but it's like less than half the life cycle. But yeah, it just got updated, and I was watching comparisons, and it looks great. Unreal Engine is just not a great running engine on this current system, so that gives me optimism about um, the next system, having GTA 5, having GTA 6 when it comes out. I know they're looking ahead to that. Uh, so, yeah,
Speaking of memberships, did you know there's a GTA membership you can have?
like GTA Online.
I guess. I don't know. All I know is I was looking at that collection to see what it cost to talk about it this week on the podcast, and I saw that it's free if you have a GTA membership, and I'm like, so separate from PlayStation Plus, they have this where you can also get games. That was crazy to me. Everything's a subscription these days.
Yeah, well, GTA. I mean, with subscriptions has just like I'm sure that's the main reason why GTA 6 took too long. And
Hmm.
I'm sure at some points I was being negative about like, GTA Online, they figured it out. They don't have to make like physical, they don't have to spend millions of dollars. Like, I mean, they are spending a lot of money on development, but like, they get sick of GTA Online, never make a game again, and make billions of dollars off of it. So I was a bit negative about whether we were actually going to see a new game at at any point. I've never played GT Online. I have lots of friends that do. It seems toxic.
Yeah.
Like most gaming communities, it just seems, yeah, it just seems not something I'd be interested in. But the cars are cool. I definitely like the cars. Um, Speaking of deals, because actually this segue is good, is we got the Black Friday deals that were released. Black Friday is coming up. Um, we already talked about uh the standard and OLED Mario Kart 8 bundles, which come with digital code of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 12 months of Switch Online. Standard is $299, OLED is $349. Here's the parts that I didn't know. I think this is the best deal. The Switch Lite Hyrule Edition, 12 months of NSO, but it's expansion pass, which is interesting because the other one's not. This one's expansion for some reason.
Mm.
209.99.
Maybe to
So
make up for the other one is the other one's not a Switch Lite. So I think that's the difference there is because it's a Switch Lite, it's kind of you're losing a little bit, so they give you a little more with the expansion.
yeah, I guess so. I mean, expansion would be $50. So that would knock the Switch Lite down to like 160. Um so they're both good deals. I'm a bit surprised that um for like the standard, like the bundle I just talked about, we're not looking at like 249 and 299 just to get it out, just to get it going. Or like $20 less, $25 less. Tears of the Kingdom case and screen protector is $10 off at $25. $20 off Joy Cons. We can speculate if we're using Joy Cons in the next system. Tears of the Kingdom, $20 off. Um, which means it's $50, not and not $70. For the $40 games, we have Mario Maker 2, Pikmin 4, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the physical version of Switch Sports, and this is maybe the most surprising ones I have, $30 games, Pikmin 1 and 2, and Super Mario Odyssey. Okay, so here we go. Um, is Nintendo just trying to move these units? Mario Odyssey is a 7-year old game, or are they trying to
Well,
hit some?
that's the thing though. Like it's a 7-year-old game, but it's still Mario Odyssey. So if you haven't played it yet, it's still a massive game to be getting at a $30 price tag. Whereas I feel like Pikmin is that the price for Pikmin 1 and 2 together?
Yes,
$30? Okay, that's a fair price. All right.
it's a good
Because I was gonna
price.
say that first Pikmin game is super short. That's about what that should cost normally.
Mhm.
Is $30 Pikmin 1 and 2,
I'm thinking
to
about
be
getting
honest.
it.
It's worth it for sure. It's worth it. I mean, Pikmin is fast becoming like a top 5 Nintendo franchise for me. It might already be there. I was just thinking about this today. That and how much I've been loving Metroid over the last year. Like Zelda, you might be moving down. Like, I don't know if anything's gonna top it, but it's just like because Tears of the Kingdom didn't really connect with me. Echoes of Wisdom was like a 6.8 out of 10 for me. So like Zelda, the last two didn't really hit me the way the rest of the series has, and I've been playing Pikmin and Metroid and coming away super impressed. So, yeah, anyway, it's a long way for me to say I highly recommend everyone play the first two Pikmin games. Don't let the time limit of the first Pikmin game scare anyone. It's kind of built into the way the game's designed that if, you know, you can replay days and not lose any time. Like if you're on day 7 and you didn't get a lot done and you're like, I've done that day much better. You just replay the day. And it I don't know. I never mind doing it. I think Pikmin's definitely a mindset you have to get into, and I know they get rid of the time limit with the rest of the games, but I like it. And the second game gets rid of the time limit. It's got the caves. Second game, I feel like I spent longer got more playtime out of Pikmin 2 than I did out of 3 and 1 put together. So, it's a very substantial game for that price tag.
Right. So I think I'm gonna pick it up just for the nostalgia. I have lots of nostalgia for the first one, and $30 is a good price point. I think I said,
Mhm.
if it goes on sale, I'll get it.
Are these going to apply to Switch Online? Do you know?
I don't know. I thought so. That's a
Because
good point. That's a good
I've
point.
been eyeing Kirby in the Forgotten Land forever, and I just happen to have $40 in those Nintendo coins right now, like the
That's
points you get when you buy stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
It might be 30% off, like usual, or
yeah,
33% off. Um, like for
I'm
example,
gonna
if
end up
Tears,
getting Kirby in the Forgotten Land anyway. I'm just hoping I can get it for this price.
yeah, because like for example, if Tears of the Kingdom is 30% off, that would be $49. So um, that would make sense. It might just be 30% off, and then these prices like in the stores. If it's on sale, I'll probably pick it up. Uh, but yeah, I think yeah, the Switch Lite seems like a good deal. Mario Odyssey being half off, because yes, it is 7 years old, but it's still the last 3D Mario game. It's like the
Mhm.
top. It's like
And
the
it's a
big
massive one too.
yeah.
It's like, that's 880 moons, and that's a whole different discussion about how often you get moons in that game. Some people were happy with it. Some people were like, I don't like being rewarded for just jumping. But yeah, it's a massive game if you choose to collect all 880 moons.
I mean, I just assume that it's capitalism and it's also promotion for I'm gonna say a new 3D Mario game next year. But let's predict that. I'm gonna
I
say
hope so.
2025 new 3D Mario. But I wonder if at all Nintendo worries about those numbers, because plenty of companies do it. Plenty of companies make their
Mhm.
games 90% off, and then they can go to their investors and say, "Look how many units we sold." Look how many units we sold of this game in the seventh, eighth year of it. So that's interesting. $30 is a steal for a game like that. I'm pretty sure I bought it on a Black Friday sale, for like $40. thirty
Mhm.
dollars is just great. So that was the biggest surprise for me. Um, yeah, going out. You ever worked Black Friday when you did retail?
Yeah, when I worked at Target, I did Black Friday, and I want to tell you, it at least in my area was not ever as bad as the reputation is. And granted, this was like what, 10 10 years ago now, maybe more, 12 years ago. But um I always remembered Black Friday as being during the Christmas season actually the easiest day to work. Like people were generally in good spirits. People were like happy to be out doing their Black Friday sales. They were finding what they needed, getting it, that sort of thing. And it was like everything after Black Friday was when you started to see the angry holiday shoppers. So I worked at least 3 Black Fridays, maybe 4.
Man, I worked 3 Black Fridays for Nike, and I never had anyone mean, but man, we had so many people that were just drunk, just like
Yeah, Nike's definitely a different target market than Target.
yeah, but like I would always work midnight. Like I would always work like
Mhm.
midnight 1 a.m. to like 9 a.m. And I remembered that like every year I did it, I had my dad drive me. just because I knew like I didn't want to drive home after after working 8 hours and being up all day. But yeah, like people would either be like they either like drank too much or they were just exhausted from like a whole day of holidays and now they're trying to go out and shop. But it always went so quickly because like the first 4 hours were just like you would just be so busy. You'd be so busy with everything that like anyone that works retail, I'm pretty sure anyone would say that um, the slow times are like just the worst. Where you're like, what is it? It's 4 minutes. Got to be here for another 7 hours and 50 minutes. Like there's nothing to do.
Hmm.
Those are always the busy days. If anything, I have just funny stories about people just falling over and just doing stupid stuff. Like just go home. Is it really worth it sometimes,
Oh, I just realized I also worked a Black Friday years and years before that. This is probably like 16 years ago now. One of my first jobs was working in the mall. Same kind of thing as Target, though.
Where was that? You cut out for a moment. Where did you work?
KB Toys
Oh, right.
in the mall. So it's
Yeah.
a smaller store. It's just a mall store. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what year it got so bad. Like because I don't remember like as a kid it being like that. But when I started working, at least when I started working service industry, it was nuts. Like working on Thanksgiving Day, like that sort of thing. Like,
Yeah, and I mean I've said it on the podcast before. I work at a hospital now, so like it's not like the hospital closes for holidays either. So you always get a at least now I get a float day where if I work a holiday, I get to pick a different day to have off. So there's that. I didn't have that when I was doing retail.
holidays, most deadly time of the year. Actually,
Hmm.
Christmas, deadliest day of the year in America. There we go.
Is it? I thought.
Apparently.
Oh no, that's most home invasions. Never mind.
uh,
Halloween is the day for the most home invasions for obvious reasons.
yeah. Christmas is apparently like the highest for like drunk driving. Um, holiday season is the highest for suicide. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Have a holly jolly
Uh,
Christmas.
Ba-dum. Anyways, yeah. Nintendo therapy. Take care of yourself. Check in on your friends and everything. Uh, talk about this rumor you have.
Oh yeah, so there's the rumor that the Wind Waker and possibly Twilight Princess might finally be coming to Switch. It's the same thing that's happened a million times where it was accidentally posted for sale on a Russian like website as far as I know. I think I remember that correctly. I saw a few different people reporting on this week. And to tell you the truth, I don't believe that that was an actual leak. But at the same time, I do believe it is at some point, maybe not for the holiday season this year, but at some point they are going to put those on Switch. And it's probably going to be soon because I have run out of games I'm excited for. So that tends to be about when Nintendo announces a bunch of new stuff where I'm like, well, I'm going to have to get that. So it it's probably coming the next wave of big announcements, I'm guessing. Um because we had the leak that I do believe, and I don't remember the source on this, but there was that one that I remember was a credible source that basically said like I don't know why they already finished one for the Switch and they just haven't put it out yet. And I remember hearing stories about I think it was Skyward Sword was finished like a full year before they decided to release that on the Switch. So they do sit on games that are finished and ready to go. And I think that's the case with Wind Waker and possibly Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess needs the HD treatment a little more if these aren't just ports of the Wii U versions and they're new touch-ups. But they're probably going to be ports of the Wii U versions, and I think they are coming eventually. I'm holding out hope, because then I would have like every Zelda on that system, just missing the DS games at that point. So yeah, that's a rumor. It stems from a Russian website making a mistake, but I don't believe that was a leak, but I think they are coming at some point.
I don't believe it at all. And this is just a typical, we are Nintendo content creators and we're just gonna create content based on a rumor that we don't believe. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like it, I think it's a placeholder. So with that being said, I don't think it's real. I think it's like they think it's gonna come out this year, or they were told it's gonna come out this year. But if you look at the artwork they provided, it's just the artwork for Wind Waker already, and I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure all they did was just crop it and put the Switch logo on the side. So there's nothing on the website that shows that it's like something that's actually legit, or they have like legit cover art to go along with it. So it says December 31st. I think this is just like a placeholder if it comes out. And with that being said, I would not be surprised if when this game is announced, if we see it released like days after. I would not be
Mhm.
surprised if we see just a short window of like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
games are here and they're out tomorrow. I
Like Echoes of Wisdom. We got like a month notice on that. Maybe
right.
2 month, I can't remember, but it was very short. And it could be even shorter than that because this isn't even a new game.
Right.
It's the third time they've released it,
I'm thinking
if it does come out.
Metal Gear Solid. Like Metal Gear Solid was like days, I think.
Okay,
So
there we go.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about it. Just like if this was Amazon, I would think a little bit more about it. It's not
Mhm.
Amazon. Because I'm
Yeah,
sure that's
I
happened
don't
before.
even know if believe it's coming this year. If I were Nintendo, I would release this sometime around the Switch 2 to encourage more Switch sales. Like, hey, you could still play this on a basic Switch, and here, if you don't want the Switch 2 yet, here's another reason to get your foot in the door with the Switch family of systems.
I
So
have
I
no
could see that
idea.
happening.
I have no idea. I mean, Nintendo, if you're taking a while, hopefully you're thinking about online functionality with Wind Waker. Um,
I hope so, because I've said it a million times. I love that message in a bottle mechanic. It was so cool. And like there's that whole thing in the game where there's the guy who makes models based on pictures you bring him, and people were sharing the pictures of the harder to get enemies. So you'd get a mess. It was like opening a pack of Pokemon cards. You'd open a message in a bottle and be like, "Oh, I hope there's something good in here. Oh, sweet. There's a picture of this boss fight. So now I don't have to whip out my camera during that boss fight. I've got the model ready to go and I can just relax." Or, "Oh, sweet. Here's one that I missed and wasn't able to go back and get." So, yeah, that was such a fun mechanic. Hopefully, they don't even have to redesign a mechanic. Just bring that one back, and I'll be happy.
yeah, I mean, hopefully, I like. There's lots of examples of Nintendo not going the extra mile and just giving us
Mhm.
remasters or Switch Online games that are just ports. But yeah, I would love to see it. The game's coming eventually. I'm tired of hearing about it. Like
Well, there's
it's
not a lot
it's
of Wii
always
U games left now that they have Xenoblade Chronicles X. There's like that. There's Yoshi's Woolly World. Um,
we went through it last
there's
time, I
not a
think.
lot else.
Yeah, yeah, we went. I think we went through it just last week. I think there's not that many, and then that
Mm,
system is just it's time to
redundant.
move on. Then um yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna be about done
I
on.
got mine.
There it is. There it is. People on audio only. Kevin is showing off his Wii U hardware this week. Yes.
I gotta
Okay.
turn it on. Make sure it doesn't freeze like that virus if you let it sit too long. But
Right. 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 Um, I'm gonna leave it there. I had a couple other small things I don't really want to talk about. Have you played Mario Luigi yet?
no, but tomorrow for sure. Because like I said, I literally finished Metroid Prime like 2 hours before we recorded tonight, and then I had to eat dinner. So I finished Metroid Prime, ate, and then came to record, and now I'm ready to start Mario and Luigi Brotherships. And next week I'll have some thoughts. I know there's controversy on the internet about it, so I'll be able to finally weigh in on that and tell you if the load times are too much, tell you if the frame rate's too sporadic, tell you if any of it bothers me at all.
I I was with IGN until their social media team made me mad. Um,
Okay.
because I know IGN is known for like giving bad reviews on good games, but like at first I was like, they're allowed to have their own opinion on this game. But then like
Mhm.
after like the fifth post I saw about it, I'm like, come on, guys. Like it almost feels like you're just doing it for engagement now, you know?
Yep.
So I don't know. But it's been reviewed well. You know, every Mario Luigi game has been reviewed well. So okay, more on that next week then. Um, yeah. Anything else from you before we do spotlight?
Now let's talk about the Immortal, the NES game. So that was our spotlight for this week. The Immortal came out, let me see, uh, November of 1990. So pretty close to the Super Nintendo release. It's a late NES game. And I don't have a whole lot of notes on the backstory or development this time. I'm going to be honest, I didn't play much of it this week because I'm not good at these types of games. I did watch a walkthrough. I watched a good chunk of a walkthrough, so I have a good idea of what this game is. I just didn't actually play it. Um, but um, yeah, it's one of those games from a time where they were experimenting with what a game could be. You die a lot. It's one of those games where you keep playing it and replaying it, and every time you make it a little further, it's like, okay, I made it one room further than I made it on my last play session, and you just memorize every step until you can play a perfect playthrough. So it's one of those types of games.
I tried. I it's it's really difficult. Like everything in this game wants you to die. I mean, like in the very beginning you die. Like in the very beginning, if you don't move, you just get like sucked through the floor. And
Yep.
I totally agree with you. This is like a game that it seems like they tried to make an RPG, but it became too linear, so it's more of like a, I don't know, adventure. I don't know, like it's hard to say, but it's not quite at what you would expect like a modern, or I guess I'll say retro RPG to be. I probably
Well, did
watched
you
this.
see the Sega Genesis version?
I watch a lot of comparisons
Okay,
because
yeah.
it is a port of the Apple II. The Sega Genesis looks
Mhm.
better. Is that what you're kind of
Way
saying?
better.
Looks way better,
Yeah, it looks
right?
way first off, there's not as much death. Like there's not like so many death traps everywhere. The combat is better. The combat has much more crazy, like Mortal Kombat-esque fatalities worked into it because it's turn-based combat. We should say that. Sort of turn-based combat. It's hard to explain. You do enter like a battle screen and kind of like rock paper scissors your way through a
It's so
battle.
weird.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Um and the Sega Genesis one had like fatalities basically before Mortal Kombat was even a thing. Uh Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad. Like because like if we get in the minds like imagine if we liked this game and
Mhm.
then we found out like oh like we could have had the Genesis version because
Yeah.
we have
That's what
Genesis on
should be on
Switch.
there.
Um,
They should have brought that to Switch Online because
yeah,
honestly, I didn't play it, I just watched the videos, but it seems like anyone who's a fan of this game, they're a fan of that version, and the NES one just kind of exists.
right.
So, there's that.
Right, we should have the option. We should
Mhm.
have the option of it because why not? It's not gonna confuse us that much. Most of us are not looking for these games, and if you are, you should have that
Yeah.
option. Uh, this is a port of an Apple II game, and that always gives me lots of nostalgia because when I think Apple II, like I was in kindergarten in 1995, 94, no, 95, and like the elementary school I went to, all we had were like the newer Apple II and I computers, and I can remember like in like some of the resource rooms, we still had some of like the older, I want to say like 1986 range Apple II computers that had the 5-inch floppy drives, and like it's just so interesting that like I was a bit too young for that generation, but like I was in a public school that still had that old technology um, back then. So yeah, I just that's the memory that I was given. Apparently, this game became more popular on NES after it was featured in Nintendo Power. So it was in issue 20, crazy. Issue 20, which is in January of 1991, which is the Mega Man 3 cover. And it features an 8-page walkthrough of the first five worlds, levels, and there's only seven in the NES version. And that's interesting. Now, this is anecdotal. This is coming from people on Reddit who were alive during that time. But just to think about how printed media could actually affect video game sales is interesting to think about now.
Mhm. Well, like I told you, I remember in the lead up to the first release of Pokemon, just reading for months and months. It must have been like 3 or 4 issues before it was even released. Nintendo talking about like, "You don't even understand how big this is in Japan right now. Like, brace yourself for what's coming." Like, we've already seen its effects on a population. Um, so, like, yeah, like, just reading that hype was enough to get me ready for that first game. And there's definitely like, we all read those magazines back then, and you definitely made purchases based on just that printed media and seeing screenshots of a game. And maybe it even because they were a little bit fairer at reviewing games, I feel like back then. So like you would even see a game that got like a 3 out of 5 and you'd be like or like in some magazines they'd give like a 2.8 out of 5 and you'd be like, "Yeah, but they said the gameplay was overall enjoyable, so I'm going to give it a try." Like so I don't know. It's it's one of those things where the printed media was definitely moving some units.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah, definitely. In the same issue, they have I didn't write it down, but it's like something like counseling corner or something
Yeah.
where you write in like people write in like they're stuck in some part of a video game, so you write into a magazine. It's just so
Mhm.
it's like it's just so crazy to think about like getting stuck on a video game being like, okay, I'm gonna write a letter to a magazine to figure out like and hopefully they respond to me in like a month or two. It's just very silly. And they would rank the top 10 games by users like every month. And this month, this issue, I had played all of the top 10 games, but number three. And number three is Crystalis. Did you ever play Crystalis?
No, I know of it. but I've never played it.
Yeah, just a fun fact. I know it came out later, so maybe it was like recency bias of like, oh, this game is
Mhm.
so modern, it's so awesome. Um, but it was reviewed well. I feel like I'm kind of burying this game. Overall, I didn't get very far. I watched a walkthrough. I feel like it misses its mark as far as its identity goes.
Yeah.
Apparently, this was supposed to be an online game, which is crazy to think about.
Whoa.
It was supposed to be an online game for Apple, but it turned into a single player game. But it was supposed to be multiplayer, which is like,
Whoa.
how does that develop coming out in like 89, 90? Like, how did they know that? Uh, I wonder if in its development, it kind of had that problem with its identity, and then they just released it with what they had. I cannot find a lot more news about it. I read the Nintendo Power issue on it. Um, Angry Video Game Nerd does a fantastic video on this, um, where he reviews it, but he does it all in one take. Uh, Kind of like how like if you want to beat this game, you have to do it all at once. So he does a video
Yep.
just all in one take, which is just it's really really good. And again, like if you look up this game, you're not going to find very much. So, what other thoughts do you have? Because I have not done a good job with giving much detail.
Those are pretty much all my thoughts. I mean, it was a game from a time where they were experimenting with what can video games be. So if you keep that in mind, it helps you understand the game, but it doesn't excuse the game. I overall I'm never really good at these. It was a lot like to me in my mind, it reminded me of when we played Shadowgate. Um, oh no, we didn't do Shadowgate for the show, but I've played Shadowgate, and it reminded me a little bit of that. There was like a weird detective point and click NES game we played. It reminded me of. I can't think of what that was now.
I got it.
There was like a what was it?
Are you thinking of Nightshade?
Nightshade. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. So for some reason, it maybe just overall like ambition for the time. These games are both like examples of we're not quite there yet. Someone should have told the developers, we're not quite there yet. Um and yeah, so I buried it way at the bottom of my ranking, but I appreciate the attempt, but I am never going to try to play this game again. So, my for me it's all the way down at 95. I put it below Kung Fu Heroes, above Spanky's Quest. um it's just a game that if I was ranking the Sega Genesis version, I'd probably be a little kinder, but I'm not. So, to me, I'm just like there's with once I saw this footage of this Sega Genesis version, I'm like there's no reason for this NES one to exist. There just isn't. It's a very bad version of it's the worst version of this game. So, yeah. Not happy with it.
And we're not recommending it to anyone.
No.
I don't know.
No, not this
Yeah,
week. No.
yeah, not this week. All right.
I guess if you want to see a game that you could argue was ahead of its time and like not I wouldn't even recommend to play it though. I'd say watch a YouTube video of somebody who knows how to play it so you don't have to waste your time.
I'll put it down at 82. So yeah, I won't. This is not a game I would return to. It's not a game that I would recommend.
Yeah.
I had Nightshade at 52, but I'm probably gonna give it more of a benefit of the doubt because had that's more of like a sci-fi cyberpunk that I'm like more interested in, and that was also attempting to be more of like a PC game. So
Mhm.
I just think there was just more to it if I can remember correctly. This one, Immortal, is just kind of like if it had better combat, I think it would be ranked a lot higher. Um, if it just yeah, if it just had like turn based or just it was just that's different. I guess I'll leave it there. It wasn't that enjoyable. It's very difficult. There's lots of ways to die. Okay, all right. What are we playing
All
next?
right, let's find out. All right, so we're going over to the Game Boy and we're going to be playing Castlevania Legends, which is not a game I've played before. Obviously, I'm familiar with the Castlevania series, but I'm not too sure about Legends. So I think this game is pretty well received. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know either. Our
I'm probably going
resident
to be using that rewind feature a lot.
yeah our resident Castlevania person's not here today, so
I'll make
we
sure he knows.
yeah
It'd be a good game for him to come back with.
Shiny gotta come back, man.
Yeah, hopefully he's here next week.
Yeah, we're playing. Yeah, we keep playing Castlevania for you. Oh, all right. That was a good episode, Kevin.
Yeah, thank everybody for listening. As usual, we're Nintendo fans, not Nintendo experts, so we probably got stuff wrong. Let us know, nintendotherapypod@gmail.com. We're on Blue Sky now. I migrated over there because Twitter is a dumpster fire. So you can check us out on Blue Sky. Um, and what else? We're still on the other places. I never update the Instagram. I have a TikTok, haven't updated it in about a week, but I mean, we get TikToks coming out every now and then. It's usually just a clip of whatever I'm playing. Um and that's about it. So we'll see you all next week for some more Nintendo therapy. And who knows what we could have for news next week? We could have Switch 2 announcements. You'll never know. See you then.